Thank you for joining me today, and I'm going to show you what's today's workshop. So today's workshop, I will share with you different twins using LeanTween. Yeah, so pretty much animation is the soul of I would say the object, right? Because for example, like if you want to design a UI, if you want to help users or to know better, to indicate better, to give the user hints, animation is a really good way. Then today I'm going to share with you some basic knowledge of how to use LeanTween, integrate inside your Unity, and make it twin or move the way that you want. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so thank you for joining me today, and today I will talk about UI LeanTween. This is Unity workshop number 5. Okay, why does motion matter? Okay, so motion is essential to bringing digital products to life. So why? Yeah, because like when we have different interfaces, it's hard to to do it if without like subtle motion, right? Later on, I will share with you some examples. But why does motion matter? Because first, it guided focus between views, and it also has hints that will happen if a user completes a gesture, right? And the hierarchical and special relationship between elements. And number 4, it distracting what's happening behind the scene. For example, like loading screen, right? When you see the loading screen, you know something is happening, because one of the design principles is feedback, right? For example, if we kind of like swipe or do the swipe tab or swipe up, swipe left, we have different gestures. And if the motion or we can kind of make it move according to our gestures and has some physics applied, it will make our gesture more believable, and then make it more natural to users. And so for example, like when we go to a website or like when we submit the form, if there's an empty screen, we might feel bored and we might feel like, does it even work, right? But if we see the progress bar or see the clock or loading screen, we know that there's something happening right now, but we have to wait, right? So, and for example, like if there's a phone call, right, and the phone icon will start shaking and vibrating. When you see that motion, you will feel like, wow, this is something that kind of indicate through the motion or like through the animation, right? It's kind of like motion. It feels like the object has emotion, right? And it tells us in another way, right? So, and also number 5, it can help us to shape the character and polish, and after looking at the motion, we feel delightful. Okay, so let's take a look of material design and some easy out, like some different motion, and then also later on we will talk about, today we are going to have some simple code apply to our object in order for it to have slightly different or movement or scale up, scale down, right? So we want to start moving around our object through the simple code. Okay, so let's take a look of today's. Okay, so If you go to material.io, you will see this page, and this page is called material motion. Okay, so motion in the world of material design is used to describe a special relationship functionally and in tension with beauty and fluidity, right? So this is very important. So for example, like it can indicate, like how quick it is, right? You can see, like different motions. And also, for example, like if you are a UX UI designer, so for example, if you touch something, right, and you can feel like, oh, you touch it, it's like a ripple, right? So it's kind of like mimicking the real world experience through different way of that you touch. And also you see like scale up, scale down. And through today's lessons, you will learn the simple way to kind of move around things. And maybe next course, next workshop, you will be learning more user interface part. Today, I just give you some simple intro about how important motion is, and also some simple ways for you to kind of start trying out. For example, right now you see like there's two dots. One, no ease. Another one is ease, right? You can see the y-axis and time, right? So one is like, you see like there's no move very fast, and then slow, so slow, fast, slow, fast, slow, right? And then this can kind of like help the user to understand like, wow, this feels like a real object, like touching something, or like the real physics. Okay, so you see something like this, right? Like gravity, right? It's kind of like it has some sort of movement, right? And also this one, right? When you touch it, it becomes bigger, right? And the motion makes sense, right? You see like it shrinks to a small one and it enlarges, right? So the motion kind of like help us to, connect all the UI device. Imagine if you don't have twin, you just start from this small one and suddenly become a big one. It might feel like it's not consistent, and you might wondering like why this was so small and suddenly becomes big without twinning, right? So so twinning is important. It's part of the storytelling, and also shows the consistency of the UI movement. Also, so you can see like 3 dots, right? And when you click each one, and it kind of enlarge different ones. So it shows awareness, right? Material is aware of its surroundings, including the user and other materials around it. It can be attract to elements and respond appropriately to user intent. Okay, so this one, when you click, right, and something, push it, becomes bigger and push other blocks outside of the boundary, right? So you can see like, so this is something that we used to see, but we kind of didn't really notice it, right? We didn't realize that actually it looks very natural, right? It feels like the UI has life, and we are interacting with like organic living, or it has its own life, right? And everything looks really natural. See? Intention. Okay, so when you click, right, it has a transition helps guide the user to the next step of an interaction, right? And this one, you can see the movement can indicate different signals. For example, like the top one, it feels like, oh, this cannot delete, but the second one, it means that you can delete the second one, right? And animation can bring focus to the elements and need users' attention. For example, like you see like this phone ring, right? You can feel like something is vibrating, kind of like stimulation, like the phone call, right? When there's a phone call like long time ago, you can see like the actual phone, right? Like vibrating, right? So yeah, even though our phone right now is like a rectangle, it's not even this one, but like phone like this. Okay, so what makes a good transition? For example, like you see this, right? It's very fast, right? So motion is really quick. It's not wasting people's time. But if you see this one, you click it and there's no response. And after a long time, it just show up. So you might feel like a little bit confusing, right? And motion is clear. Okay, let's see the clear motion. You click it, right? Everything shows up really subtle, and you see like the like button, yeah, it's here, right? Just pop up. If you see the unclear one, you can see, wow, what's going on? Why that heart just like slide in like in anywhere, right? It's just like there's no no way that heart is like losing. Are you losing your heart or something, right? Dropping out. Right, so it's very weird. Okay, so that's the motion is cohesive, right? Okay, let's see. Yeah, so this means that the motion is cohesive. And implication of motion. Okay, so let's take a look. Yeah, so when you kind of like click, everything just pops up, right? Okay, and if you see this, ooh, yeah, why? Yeah, so it feels like this one feels like, oh, this is the second layer, but this one is like, it's very weird, right? Because when you click, why that one was just like jump out, right? So yeah, so this in material design in this page, or if you want to see more about the material design, you can take a look. It has a lot of good stuff for you to learn more about UI, or how can you animate the UI more naturally, right? Okay, so let's take a look at the second one. If you go to easings.net, yeah, so this one is a very cool site. So for example, like there are so many ease in, ease out, right? So if you go here, you can see like there's a dot kind of mimicking like, okay, so if you want to do like ease in, out, shine, right? You can see this slowly, kind of slow, slow, fast, slow, right? Yeah, so you can see like different way of moving, yeah. Usually this is like a time space, right? So this is like a time like very fast, and at the end it's like slow. And this is like very slow, and at the end very fast. Yeah, so it's kind of like speed up and kind of step a break or something. Yeah, so you can take a look and play around just by overlaying each one. And you can see like which feeling you want for your motion, right? It's very interesting to see. Yeah, you see bounce out. It's like kind of like going out and going back, right? It's like ball, right? Yeah. So you can see a lot of interesting. Ooh, using elastic, elastic. Yeah, so yeah, you can play around with all this and choose which one you like. Okay, so later on we will talk about the LeanTween. Okay, so let's go back to the deck. Okay, so let's take a look of LeanTween. So before we talk about motion, for UI design, right? It is so important for us to create a UI that apply with the right motion to make the experience looks great and smooth, right? And then now, if you want to do the UI in Unity, what can you do, right? Because in 2D or in the UX UI, you can pretty much use, I would say, maybe Figma a little bit or some other animation to animation to tween to do those stuff. But in Unity, you can definitely do the timeline animation. That's fine. You can do the traditional move around the position. But if you want to tween really well, perfect, and reduce the jargon stuff, I would say implement the code is the best choice. So let's take a look of LeanTween, how powerful it is. Okay, so maybe I need to do this. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so we knew that LeanTween is not only just for 2D but also 3D, right? So you can do like game object, and you can you find an object you wanna tween, right? Tween means that the motion between each end position. It's like tweening, like something in between you wanna kind of like doing some transition stuff. Okay, so first you need a game object, right? And the second, you need to know what you want to do, right? For example, you want to change the position, you want to change the scale. And the third one will be type, animation types, or at the end, if you want to add like ping pong or looping, right? So LeanTween can cover all of that. Oh, okay, so so if you see, like, this is just for tween, right? So you can change the sound alpha, it means opacity, right? And and not only LeanTween the 3D object but also rect transform, right? Rect transform is more specifically targeting the UI part. And you can change the alpha of canvas text, right? And also you can have different colors, right? And also different you can pause, you can move even just one direction, like move X, move Y, right? And you can pause, you can resume, you can rotate different axes, you can scale different axes, you can have different value, you can different colors, right? So there are so many things you can change just by simple code. Okay, so let's take a look. So maybe you can take a look at those. Okay, so tween, if you go to this site, right, dented pixel, I think right now it's not working right now, but I think I provide another. If you go to the GitHub for this person, like type this name and then type GitHub, you can download the entire thing. And then once you download the entire thing, save the folder somewhere, right? And then open the HTML file and you can get this. This is something that I download from their GitHub, and I got the HTML file and I open it. Okay, so you can see all of those, and if you are curious how can you do this, you can see like all the meanings of it. But today we are going to use the simple one, and just to show you how powerful it is. Okay, so let's go back to our Okay, so what I want to show you is the common usage math. First one is scale, second one is alpha, and then you can do the rotation, you can do the color, you can do the move, you can do pause, resume, and more, right? So those are really interesting, right? So it means that you can pretty much do a lot of stuff just to, do it through your LeanTween. Okay, so for example, like let's take a look for no ease type. It means like if you don't do any easing, which I just show you, the curvy movement, right? If you don't do that, what will it look like? It's just plain, right? Small, big, and there is no speed up, speed, it's just really normal. But if you have some easing and ease out, like bounce, right? It's like when if you remember the bounce, right? It's kind of like at the end, it's kind of like off the original place. If you see this, oof. Okay, so you see kind of a little outside, yeah, kind of a little bouncing feeling, right? Okay, so I want to show you today like the simple way of creating different box and apply some LeanTween code. And also because in LeanTween you can do animation manager using empty gain object and put different gain object onto it, or you can also apply to individual like the I would say individual object. So it all up to you. You see like all the cubes, I use animation manager, and as for the individual ball, I just attach to it, and the code will be different. Okay, so let's dive into today's Unity. Okay, so today I'm going to walk you through the okay, so if you see this, right, how did I make this? Okay, so the way that I made it is first I create cubes, right? I think all those you can kind of so